This is from Jason. It absolutely helps in the memory feature to be able to just mash the button back and forth and see the. Oh, that actually sounds very. I misunderstood here a little bit. That actually sounds very cool. It absolutely helps the memory in the memory feature just to be able to just mash the button back and forth and see all the cool things that change very quickly in a really cool poetic way. That does sound really cool and poetic. I'll give it to you guys. That does sound sweet. Directors share philosophy on balancing freedom with story. Following Sony and Sucker Punch's recent State of Play presentation, diving deep into the Ghost of Yotei, we had a chance to speak with that game's co-creative directors, Nate Fox and Jason Connell. We dived deeper into some of the new features like the game's structure, camps, and navigation, made sure the fast travel load times are as shockingly fast as they were in the first game, and tried to learn a little more about protagonist Atsu's Etzo Wolf companion. That is cool. Game Informer. Why set the sequel so far after Tsushima? It takes place about 300 years later, right? This is Nate Fox. A little bit less. The game takes place in 1603, which is a pretty interesting time in Japanese history. The Warring States period just ended. Peace is broken out across the land, and all of these warriors suddenly don't have jobs anymore. And a number of them went to Izo, modern-day Hokkaido. I'm butchering these names, I'm so sorry. Which is the far north, which is the edge of Japan. And this place is a lawless wilderness, right? Very, very dangerous. Packed with people, with weapons, and some of them have chips on their shoulders. You take that kind of power keg and you put it alongside this unbelievable, beautiful landscape of Hokkaido. It's just gorgeous. This is kind of the spot. This is the kind of spot you put your open world video game, right? It's exciting. So hence the game takes place in 1603, where we get to know this new hero, Atsu, and an origin story that we're really excited to tell. Will there be ties to Tsushima beyond the mechanics and Japanese setting? Are there going to be narrative ties to Jin Sakai's story? I really wish he would just say yes. Why won't he just say yes? I love Jin. I like them as a character. I hope they get a segment where we get to play as him. The game is very much its own story. It's a spiritual sequel. You don't need to have played Ghost of Tsushima to jump right into Ghost of Yotei. It is a game where the player is considered something of a ghost. Atsu is considered an Onryo, an avenging spirit by the people of Izo because she keeps living through all these attempts to get revenge. And she becomes a walking legend in the land that she explores. Her reputation precedes her in this way. It's similar, but it's very much its own story. I don't like this. Sounds an awful lot like Shadows, doesn't it? Doesn't it sound an awful lot like Shadows' whole thing? Basically, without saying no, he said no. It's kind of lame, man. A lot of research went into both of these games. Can you tell me a little bit more, a little bit about what that was and what that entailed? And this is Jason Connell. Cut your hair, hippie. The research is, as you suggest, it's not only a lot of enjoyable work. We get to have a lot of fun watching great movies, building relationships with new advisors that kind of help us understand the thoughtful and tasteful ways to make decisions on the game. But it's also just necessary, right? Like, if we're gonna make a game, as you know, our studio is a West Coast studio in the United States, and we're depicting this culture, it feels like you have to be this tall to ride. You have to do it, and then there's doing it really well. We're so lucky that we found so many great advisors to help us in the game. In particular, a number of folks have helped us. Nate and I got to go on a research trip again for this one. It was really kind of focused on Hokkaido at large, and we spent a number of days, like 9 or 10 days or something like that, just all over Hokkaido. And we actually got to meet some members of the Anu community, and one of them is actually one of our advisors. The family helps advise on the game in a number of ways. There are scripts that they were involved in, or even the patterns. If you look at the Anu, they have these beautiful, elegant, awesome patterns, and they helped us understand the reasoning behind the art choices of those patterns. It is something that we just have no idea about, and they totally help us. Cool. Makes sense, dude. Makes sense, bro. They understand that we're making a piece of entertainment for a global audience. And understanding how to depict their culture in a thoughtful and respectful way, it's really important to us. takes a lot of work up front, but it all pays off in the end. Was there anything in that research that surprised you? Maybe something players might be surprised to learn is accurate. Here's a couple. I don't know how people experience it, but here are some things that are just shocking to me in different ways. Like, for example, the name of the game. We visited this lake that overlooked Mount Yotei off in the distance. Nate and I had a similar beautiful reflective moment. The same type of moment, Tsushima. Remember the river? And then here it felt like it was Yotei. It was just this gorgeous kind of mountain we saw midway through our trip. So we've seen a lot of beauty, but that moment I felt like, wow, Yotei means something. And it was starting to shape up at that point in art of our game and the story of our game and where everything takes place to be sort of a centralizing point. And all these kinds of things point together, then eventually it all goes to Yotei. It was really a flagpole sort of moment for us, and sort of how the world kind of came together, even to the point it is the name of the story. I love stuff like this. This is why I keep reading these guys, is because I love the insights of these guys that make games and the guys that make stuff like this. It's just fun to figure out how their brains tick, you know? And the other one is the wolf. It's actually a real wolf. It's an Ezo wolf that is extinct. So it's awesome to be able to show this ferocious animal. Ferociously awesome animal. Nate Fox, they're big! Yeah, but they're not around. So to celebrate that and to sort of have that in our game, and people might not know that, it's just fun that they get to experience that even though they're not real anymore. They don't exist anymore. The quest structure is open in Ghost of Yotei. Is it structured as wholly open where there are 6 people you must kill and you can go after them in any order or direction you want? So to be clear, it's not that. It's not that you can pick any order of the 6, and I'll tell you why. Nate and I in the studio, and you've played a lot of our games, we really believe in the structure of story. It's really important to us that we develop great characters with good arcs with beginning, middles, and ends. You gotta have that, right? That is true. There is an arc with a structure in place, but at the same time, one of the aspects from Ghost of Tsushima that we wanted to not only carry forward, but just do an even better job of, was that sense of curiosity and freedom of exploration that the game delivers upon you. And so you have this delicate impasse of, if the story is just perfectly linear and you're just forced on this gold path all the time, you might lose that opportunity for people who just want to explore the landscape. But if you go too far on the other side, you might lose the structure of the story. So the balance, without giving away all the details, is that there's a structure there, a very important structure. But the way it's presented in the first few hours of games, especially that first section, is really about us delivering to you with which aspects of the Yotei 6 you want to go after first. There are some options that might lead you in some interesting areas. I kind of mentioned it a little bit in the state of play. If you're into sort of ninjas and snow stuff, then this story over here might be more interesting for you. If you're into these castles and these fire weapons, then this area might be for you. But you can bop back and forth between the two of those major areas. There's a bit more choice in there, but there's still a linear story structure that we really believe in to make sure that Atsu's vengeance quest tears at the heartstring. That's the ultimate goal. That's very interesting. Speaking of heartstrings, you're able to instantly switch to the past to learn about Atsu and her family when she was a child. Where and how often can you do that? Nate Fox. There are a few places in the world that have a lot of memories for Atsu. When you go to these locations, you can hit a button and instantly be transported to the past. You control young Atsu in these locations. You can go back and forth as you want in the moment to see maybe how this location has changed, what it looks like right now as an adult, and what it looked like back in their youth. And we wanted to give players the freedom to kind of go back and forth and to experience some gameplay as a kid so they can recall what it is. So they can feel what it is Atsu's feeling. What she's lost when her parents were taken from her. Understandable. I'm also curious in a much less emotional way. How does it work technically? Tsushima had incredible, impressive load times, even on PlayStation 4. Is this one of the ways that you're taking advantage of the PlayStation 5? Swapping to the past? You're absolutely right. It is because of the PlayStation 5 that we can do this flipping back and forth. It's very powerful business to have both of them on at one time. And it's allowing us to give you that experience of spending time with your brother and your parents and getting to know them because, of course, your whole family got wiped out, right? I'm glad that we have the opportunity to give players exposure to that in a layered fashion. This is from Jason. It absolutely helps in the memory feature to be able to just mash the button back and forth and see the... Oh... That actually sounds very... I misunderstood here a little bit. That actually sounds very cool. It absolutely helps the memory in the memory feature just to be able to just mash the button back and forth and see all the cool things that change very quickly in a really cool poetic way. That does sound really cool and poetic. I'll give it to you guys. That does sound sweet. But honestly, there's a whole host of things that we also got to improve on. There's much further sight lines, making the mountains feel so far away. The team did just such a great job of making them feel epic and large and big. The terrain tessellation, we've done some work on there. Higher fidelity rendering for far terrain. In general, it just looks much higher in quality than some of our faraway distance stuff in the past. There's a bunch of localized volumetric fog. We love the fog, and we had more of just standard fog in the last game, and it was beautiful and really well done. But now there's an actual localized volumetric work. We did some work on the low-lying clouds, and we improved skin and hair rendering. Sounds legit to me. At some point, we're going to do a here's all the cool bass and prose sort of features, and we'll outline it all. But one of the great parts of working on the second installment of something is that you get to take all those features and iterate them in a way that's just not photorealism button. Who cares about that? It's about the artistic expression that we're going for. The art. There's a style to Ghost that is really important. It's not just pure photoreal. The photorealism has an aspect to it. It's really taking that style, bringing it a little bit forward, and developing features that help achieve our visual and aesthetic and emotional and tonal goals. Like creating the Aurora Borealis. I can't say it. We didn't have that in the last game. Being able to create effects that go into the skybox. These were the things we didn't have. And now they're not just buttons of photorealism and rendering. They're directed by the experience that we would like to have. Fast travel. Still super quick. Ghost of Tsushima has some of the fastest fast travel of loading of any game. Yep, super fast. It's a convenience thing, right? That's not going anywhere because people like it so much. But yeah, it's pretty quick. I know you told me all these wonderful technical things, and I'm just like, but when I want to go somewhere else, I can go there really fast, right? Yeah, people love it. You can. The wind navigation system is crucial to Tsushima. It's one of the most memorable aspects of the game. We saw a little bit of it in the state of play, but I was curious how it has been iterated on for Yotei. The wind system, there has been some iteration on it. Izo is such a vast place that we have developed some features for the wind to sort of guide around big objects. The last game, it was just linear. It was just like, point to the place and you go there. It doesn't matter if there's a gigantic cliff there or not. And now we have actually a little bit of a system to help guide around some of the major obstacles, to make it a little bit more of an improved experience for such a vast world. Traversal super helped with the experience versus it being linear. But on top of that, we just did a whole bunch of the other exploration forward features, because wind is birthed out of the feeling that we want to create a diegetic experience where we want you to be in the game world so you can keep looking at the game world as much as you can. We've augmented that with a couple of other features like the Shaman Senatsu carries on our back. You learn certain songs, and those certain songs will guide you to certain things. There's a lot of things that we've created like that, like the wind, that are just nice additions to the diegetic exploration experience. How did the new Mike and Watanabe director modes come to exist? Did you meet, is it Mike and Watanabe? I can't say these names, man. I'm so sorry. What were those meetings like? Yeah, we did meet with them. First, I should say that these modes, especially for the first one, the Akira Kurosawa mode in the last game, was birth of our just love and joy. We were like, we should have a black and white mode, because there's so much of these films we've watched over and over again to sort of learn the nuances of how to bring these moments to life. And that birthed into, oh, I wonder if we could partner up with the Kurosawa estate and see if we can get his namesake in it. That ended up working really well for us, and we felt that was a great fanfare for people that care about this stuff as much as we do. And then moving forward, well, we have that again. And we were very excited that they would like to partner again, so we did. And we thought, who else? We started looking around and we had two, and they're both very different. We wanted something that was maybe a little more combat driven, and one that was more audible. The combat one was like, look at 13 Assassins. That's our #1 reference point, or at least one of the top reference points for Ghost in general. Ghost of Tsushima, 13 Assassins. Ghost of Yotei, there's some 13 Assassin stuff in that too. Improvisational, ooh, words are hard, sort of fighting, grabbing weapons, that style of combat, and a massive reference points. We reached out to Mike. He was super stoked. We had a really great conversation. He's such a cool, creative individual. He's even got a sword kit in the game players can find. It has a special name. He named it. And so it's very, very exciting. Watanabe is the same thing. His show Lazarus had just come out, or I had just recently watched it. And he had heard about our game, so it was really a nice touchstone, and it felt like there was a nice overlap of what we were trying to show off, and I was so excited about it. It's really cool. It's really fun as fans of the genre in general to be able to take the thing we've created and inject some fanfare collaborations for all the people that do care about that kind of stuff. Some people won't turn these modes on and won't even know they exist, but the people that will hopefully love them as much as we have been inspired by them. Not sure if it is the right term in game, but can you befriend more than wolves? In the state of play, while showing off the photo made, we Atsu, I think it's meant to say, we see Atsu standing with the bear. Nate Fox. The wolf shadows you throughout your adventure. It's a wild animal. It's definitely not a dog that comes when called. It is an ally that is a representation of the wilderness. Now, Atsu is kind of attuned to the natural world, and so there are a great variety of different animals in Iza that you can kind of get close to and interact with, like a big herd of wild horses you can ride inside of and kind of speed up as you're amongst them all. That is cool to think about that. Like a big herd of wild horses you can ride inside of and kind of speed up as you're amongst them all. That's sick, dude. I could just picture that. There's a fly in here and it's going for my eyeballs. Jesus. It's a great thing for the player to discover as they're out exploring Ezio itself. But as far as allies go, the wolf is your prime animal ally. The internet is speculating that the wolf is Jinsekai reincarnated. Do you have any comment on that? I love our fans. They're so creative. I love it. People want Jin so bad, they're like, dude, just make him the wolf. We're okay if he's just the wolf. How do the camps work specifically? Can you request certain vendors come right to you? Effectively. I'll say this. It's another way where we're trying to create a feature that tonally fits within the landscape. Big, wild, north, under the wilderness, great camping, that's great. Taking something that tonally fits into the game and seeing if we can wrap up the mechanics around it and respecting the player's time and where they are, right? Fast traveling is fine and fun and it's super quick, as we pointed out, but if I'm exploring in an area and I go, I know I have enough to get the bow upgrade because we tell you all that information like we did in the last game too, but I have to like leave this place, go over here to this town, and now it's in the snow and I'm gonna have to come back over here. It's really sort of discordant. It really kind of breaks your immersion of exploring this cool place that I'm in right here, right now. Or you can just go to that Wolfpack menu and call the camp here, and that character will come and appear at your camp and they will show up and be like, hey, here's your bow upgrade. That is a way for people to stay in the moment and get their upgrade. Maybe cook some food and get a nice boon and they're on their way without having to. Even though our fast travel is quick, it's about staying in that location. They can still fast travel if they like that too. It's quite nice in that way. If you don't call somebody might just appear that you had not known. There's sort of unknowns of people and surprise visitors that might show up as well. Oh, this is what I was waiting for. Would you be opening to revisiting Infamous, maybe for a trilogy re-release or something like that? I would love to work on more Infamous. I would love to see a trilogy re-release, but Sucker Punch is one game at a time shop, and right now we're very focused on finishing Ghost of Yotei. Oh, So the answer was no. So we figured out the title, the answer to this title of the stream. It was no. It's not on the way. Darn it. What did you think of Assassin's Creed Shadows? Comparisons are going to be inevitable. This is Jason Connell. As creators, you get to look at this stuff in two ways. You either see anything that comes near you and you kind of freeze up, or you just get excited at the fact that the medium that you're working on is being expanded upon and people are liking that flavor enough to go to where they're going to invest time to make a new game. Nate and I solely sit on that latter one. We were very, very excited about anything. Film overlap, game stuff. These things are just inevitable as creators, and you learn to embrace it. And Ubisoft makes awesome games. I've been making games for a long time. I think it's just fun to see so many other cool games in the space. It's exciting for us. Ghost of Yotei releases October 2nd exclusively on the PlayStation 5. Yeah, and this was by Kyle Hilliard. He plays entirely too much P-Cross, and he wrote a whole book about The Legend of Zelda. Nice, dude. I think that was a pretty good, I'm glad we read that, actually. You know, there's a lot of culture war stuff that is going on specifically with this game, and it puts it in such a different light when you get to hear from these directors themselves and see what's inspiring them, and it really just puts everything in a different perspective, in my opinion. And hang on a second. Sorry about that. But yeah, it really puts it in a different perspective, you know? I love hearing, like, after we've read now, I think it's like 3 or 4 different developer interviews, and I find it so interesting, dude. I do. Something about it, man, talking to these people that create this stuff and what kind of drives them forward, man. It's so fun to read about and to learn about. It's pretty amazing stuff. Okay. Now, we got our next thing here. We got our next thing. Calca ruler. How do you guys feeling about that? How do you feel about that last article? Like I said, there's a lot of culture war stuff, and you just don't get, when you hear from these guys personally, I don't, you know, I don't share that. I get it that she's a lady and that the voice actors cause problems or whatever and whatnot. But when you hear these guys just talk about this guy and then this guy talk about the game they're making, you can just tell, man, they're dripping with passion, man. They're dripping with love of the game. I don't know. I think that the thing about culture war games is like when the Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 came out, and there was a little bit of a culture war behind that, is that when you pick these games to come at for being woke or whatever, and if the game is undeniably good, it just totally screws up your whole point of view inside, right? It just discredits you. Just discredits you in general, because it's like, if you're going against undeniably good games, you know, it just because, like, this game, I honestly believe this game's gonna be undeniably good, like undeniably, and that the people that have been solely against her in general are gonna look silly in the end, right? Because the way some of these things that they're explaining, and if you already like Ghost of Tsushima, I don't know, guys, I feel like these guys have a passion about this game, and it was a pleasure to hear about it. So we're gonna be checking that game out.